Hey there, entrepreneurs. My name is Sushant, and welcome to Trek Talks. This is a show where I interview successful e commerce entrepreneurs, business executives, and thought leaders, and ask them questions about their business story and also dive deep into some of the strategies and tactics that they have used to start and grow their businesses. And today, I'm really excited to welcome Michael Chou to the show. Michael is the founder of Midnight Scoop and also an aerospace engineer by profession. Midnight Scoop is an ergonomic ice cream scooper for hard ice creams. This ice cream scooper has a curved handle which allows you to push into the ice cream using your arms and shoulders for more leverage and power. And in turn, this makes it easier to scoop the hard ice creams. And today I want to ask Michael a few questions about his entrepreneurial story and also some of the strategies and tactics that he has used to start and grow his business. So thank you so much for joining me today at Trip Talks, Michael.
Yeah, thanks you for having me.
So I know that you have such an interesting, and we were just talking about, aerospace and engineering. What you must really like ice creams. Like, what motivated you to start this business?
It was so I've always scooped ice cream in a certain way that complements our ice cream scooper. So I seem to have like more weaker wrists, and I've always used ice cream scoops in a pushing motion to kind of protect my wrists to keep them straight. So I would push into the ice cream with a scooper. So and there was never I couldn't find a product out in the market that allowed me to do that. So basically, I invented one, and that's how I kind of came up with the Midnight Scoop. I called it the Midnight Scoop because as a day job, I'm still an aerospace engineer, so I would work a lot of the business at midnight, through the night or whatever, whenever I could, basically in order to try to get the business off the ground. So I called it the Midnight Scoop. Um, from there, I'm still a aerospace engineer, as you said, um, and I love doing both, and I can't let go of either.
Hmm. Definitely, I think both are interesting, and
Yeah,
space aerospace engineering is definitely very interesting.
yeah.
So, what kind of skills like do you apply from engineering to building the scoop? Because ice cream scoop is such a widely available product. Like you could have, you can buy it anyone pretty much anywhere. What was that product improvement process like? What kind of skills, engineering skills, did you apply to make or improve the design?
Yeah, so it started with the shape, obviously. So once I figured out that I needed to design a handle to allow me to push into the hard ice cream. So I used my CAD skills as a aerospace engineer to first design it in 3D CAD, and then when we decided that we needed to move on, we would then make prototypes from the 3D CAD, and we do 3D printed parts, and just to make sure that the feel was good. And then we would choose the right material to make sure that the material is gonna, the actual product will last a long time. So I took an engineering approach and started from concept to prototype to then production, and like an iterative process. So we did go through a few different types of materials, and we settled on a stainless steel material. And we believe that now it's an heirloom product now that it'll basically last forever. So that's what we're pretty excited about.
So stainless steel, could you have also, and this is just purely out of curiosity, could you have made it out of like aluminum or something?
Yeah, so we started with aluminum, and initially we wanted to we explore we initially I thought that aluminum would have been the best to because aluminum actually pound for pound it's actually stronger than steel pound for pound, but we had difficulties with the finish with aluminum. So in order to get a good solid finish, you either try to anodize it or you would have to plate it. And we didn't want to go through any type of plating process just because it would eventually wear off, whether it's in 5 years, 10 years. We wanted really our products to last forever. We want you to just buy our products once and that's it. So we felt stainless steel was the best way because it has a good, nice, natural finish, and a lot of surgical instruments are stainless steel. So we know it's ultra safe. There's no doubts about it that it is the safest material for human contact, and that's why they use those that material for like surgery and that kind of stuff. So we just felt like that's the best material that we can use, and that's why we just went with that. We didn't want to take any shortcuts, and our niche market is just high, no money spared luxury products. So that's kind of like what we're trying to do.
So it's one thing to, as an engineer, you have a need, you found something that, a design that you can improve. But how do you go from there to creating a business out of it? So while you were creating the design, were you also researching on the other side, would there be a demand for this kind of a product because at a higher price point, and a lot of substitute available in the marketplace? Like, how did you think about creating a business out of this?
Yeah, that's a good question. To be honest, like initially, I didn't. I made the product because I felt like I would want something like this. So I was, and I felt like, like if I want it, maybe a lot of other people would want it too. This is when I first started. I've obviously learned some lessons along the way to approach it differently. Now that we're more like involved in the industry. So, I was just sick and tired of using the ice cream scoop in standard ice cream scoops in a way that I didn't want to use it. So I just did it. And I thought to myself at the time, like, hey, if I know I can sell 100 or 1,000 of these, I don't care. So I made it, I designed it, and, I just started. And when I first released it, I put it on Kickstarter just to see, how it would be received, and it just blew up from there, really. And everyone, that's seen it are really excited about it. Anyone that uses it really likes it, and then we kind of grew up from there. So I didn't really research, just think that it's not out there. I did try to search for a scoop that but I couldn't find one. So that's kind of how I went about it.
And that's very interesting.
Yeah, to go on from that a little bit more is that our next product, which we want to basically grow a line of kitchen tools. So our next product, I did do some research to see, what type of products people were in demand for, and then I created a product, and we're actually about to release that in a couple months, and it's going to be a pizza cutter.
Okay, and you've redesigned that also. You've improved the design for that also.
Correct. Yep.
And so is that like
I approached that in a different way, where I researched where there was a need for a product, and then I tried to redesign the product and perfect it.
So one thing that you mentioned was, in terms of when you think about a business, the first step is thinking about, some of the financing aspect of it. And you said that you put the product on Kickstarter, and did you have to do any marketing when you created the Kickstarter page, or was it just that the idea just made sense to a lot of people that they wanted to invest in it?
Yeah, I think so. I think it just made sense. I think there was we did get a little bit lucky where when we were out in Kickstarter, obviously a lot of my people that knew me kind of supported it to get it a little bit off the ground. But there was somebody that found our product on Kickstarter and wrote about us, and that kind of kickstarted, and that kind of helped kickstart us, really, that from that article. They wrote about how, you know, it was a unique ice cream scoop and designed by an aerospace engineer, and it kind of rolled from there. So
I think when someone says aerospace engineer, I think that makes a good angle for the story. So
yeah.
did that come just organically, or was there like did you reach out to people to create that story?
No, they kind of the first person that wrote about it kind of conjured it up, you know, like just interviewed me, and because they liked the scoop and just started asking questions, and they found this unique angle, and they kind of went with it. When they wrote about it, then a lot of other people kind of wrote about it, and that's how it kind of came about. So it was a little bit lucky, I think, you know.
And was there any personal investment that went into it also, or did you just use all the funds from the Kickstarter and that was sufficient to get the manufacturing going and things like that?
Yes, yeah, it was just it was all from the Kickstarter that I was able to get going with the business. We didn't do any ads or anything like that at the time, so I was able to use the funds to make more production tooling and then go from there. So it was very helpful with Kickstarter.
So one of the interesting things with a product like this is um, because the innovation is in the design.
Mhm.
Would would it be easy to copy a product like this and just release an alternative, or did you actually go through the process of getting uh, protecting your IP and things like getting patent and things like that?
Yeah, I think, you know, with our product, it's a unique shape. So we did do a patent and for it. So, and I would say it's probably pretty easy to copy. So, and we did have just actually recently, somebody did try to copy our product, and we were able to get it shut down pretty quick because of our IP that we have. So we do have a patent on it.
And
So
was that case in the US, or who copied the product?
yeah, so it was through it was a Chinese company that was trying to sell it through Amazon. So we
Okay.
found it deep down. Somebody found it and forwarded it to us, and we were able to just shut them down. Actually, we didn't. It was probably, I would say, we saw it 3 weeks before Christmas Day, and because of the timing, I didn't want to really raise any like complaint to Amazon up until Christmas, until after Christmas, because you know the days leading up to Christmas is very critical for product selling. Yeah, especially through Amazon. You know, we that holiday season for us, because our product is so giftable, it's very critical. So if I were to say, like, you know, to Amazon, hey, you know, like somebody's copying us, can you look into it? They might pause our listing and their listing while they figure it out, like who's the real owner, and then, like, you know, and then figure it out. So we didn't want to risk that, and we knew that they weren't getting very many sales anyway, so we waited until after Christmas, and then that's how. And then when we did tell Amazon about it, we showed them our patent and everything, and they took care of it within like 10 minutes. It was like
Okay.
super quick. So I guess we should have just done it earlier, but it doesn't matter now.
No, I think better safe than sorry.
Yeah.
So so what uh, so what happened? So you ran the Kickstarter campaign and it was successful. What is the next step? How do you get this product mass produced? Did you do that in the US? Did you create it overseas?
Yeah, we created overseas, and we actually had to go through a few manufacturers because it's a little bit difficult to produce. Because we didn't want to take any shortcuts to it. I mean, we could have just made the handle out of plastic and put on a, you know, metal front tip and then try to make it as cheap as possible. But instead, we didn't want it all one material. We wanted all, you know, at the time it was all aluminum, but now it's all stainless steel. So that lends itself to being actually a little bit more complex if you're going to use one material, one solid material. So we had to go through a few manufacturers to get it right. Um, And it's just a learning experience along the way, but it's part of it. It makes it a little bit more difficult to grow quicker, but we're able to work with a good supplier now to make it. So I think we're in a good spot.
Any lessons in terms of finding suppliers, manufacturers overseas? What was your experience like in terms of finding a manufacturer? Were there any minimum order quantity requirements that you had to meet and those kind of things? What can others learn from your experience?
Yeah, not too. We didn't really run into too much as far as like minimum order. We found that a lot of people did want to try to work with us. So it's, I think it's almost like you have so many options. You have to try to filter out as much as you can. You try to do your due diligence and see how big they are, look at their company presentation, figure out how long they've been around. Those are kind of important things. And then really how well you communicate with them, because you're going to be communicating back and forth for a long time. If how responsive they are, how well they are to work with, you can get a lot of their personality just, by talking with them or even through email. It's pretty important, just in vetting them and filtering out all the suppliers. You probably end up with like 2 or 3 that are your favorite ones, and you kind of keep going up to a point where you have to eventually choose one, and that's how you go. And for us, we chose the wrong ones a couple of times. We had to change 2 or 3 manufacturers for these. So, it takes a lot of work. So, there's no real shortcuts to it, I would say.
Did you have to travel overseas also for that, or were you able to do everything over like
yes, yep, we have. Yeah, that helps too, meeting the supplier and everything, just to gain that trust, make sure they actually exist or something like that. I would say it's always best to try to get them to make some prototypes for you or something first, before you go into full production. See how it goes, see what kind of quality you're going to get for prototypes. Again, check their responses, to see how well they respond to you. It's a working relationship, so you have to be comfortable throughout the whole process.
And the prototype process, I'm going to ask 1 or 2 more questions about this manufacturing aspect of things, because I'm very interested. Creating the prototype, I assume, because it's not, they would have to create some sort of a mold or something for creating this. Did they charge you for that, or did they do that because you had signed a contract with them and they knew that they would be the ones?
No, they usually would charge you for the tooling, even for like a prototype. If there's prototype tooling involved, they would usually charge you, but they probably would try to charge you their cost, so, and if you're it depends on the complexity of the part, sometimes you can negotiate like them to take on more of the cost of the prototypes. But they don't want to lose money, but they're probably willing to break even, at least until you go into production. For sure you're paying for the full production tool, but they don't want to lose you at the prototype phase usually.
But then you would own that tool, right? You would own that mold, or?
Yeah, you would for sure. Okay. Yep, you would own that tool. And it's sometimes I'm not too worried about like ownership of the tool as much as really just protecting myself or protecting the business from having our patents. I'm not too worried about the tool. Like if they need to make, sometimes if now that our orders are more higher, like they've been creating multiple tools, and I'm not there like counting which tools are what. I just make sure that no one else is selling our product without us knowing.
Could you share a little bit about the supply chain aspect of it? So because the manufacturing is overseas, how do you, and given that this is, I would assume this is a bit of a heavy product, given that it's solid steel and things like that. Uh, what has been your experience shipping this item? Like, did you ship it? Do you ship it by air? Do you ship it by ship? Um, do you work with some specialized companies, freight forwarders, and things like
Yeah.
that help you with this? Like, can you share a little bit? Someone who's getting started, like where, how, what would be your advice if someone is trying to ship an item from overseas? Uh,
Okay. So for production and large volume, definitely you have to ship by sea. So as you know, we have like a pretty like our scoop is about a pound, and I would say our box is like 8 inches by 3 inches by 4 inches. So one of those scoops, if we ship it by sea, it's about $1 for us to get each
okay.
from overseas. If we airship it, it's about $3.50 each.
Okay.
So that's a big difference in cost, especially like your cost of goods. So we definitely will try to ship it by sea as much as we can. If we're talking prototypes, definitely we would ship by air because it's a lot quicker. So by air, you're looking at about 5 business days from overseas. Um, I would say definitely work with a freight forwarder and give them the dimensions, the weights of the product, and they can give you quotes as far as like how much it costs now. So a little bit also depends on the season. So if you're getting it from overseas, like right before Chinese New Year, shipping costs are probably sea shipping costs will be like 50% more a lot of times because everyone's trying to get out at that time and everyone's just filled to the max. So take that in consideration as well, and definitely work with a freight forwarder. Just give them the dimensions and the weight, and they'll give you a quote exactly how much you would pay. So you add about 6 to 8 weeks for you to receive the product if you're sea shipping.
Did COVID had any impact on that, on the supply chain, on getting products?
Yeah, it did. Because initially nobody was sea shipping. Nobody was shipping at all for like a month, couple months, and then all of a sudden there was a backlog. Everybody had, it first started in Asia, so in China, so they were stopped producing, and then they had a backlog. So right when they got back to work, they were just going as fast as they can. So, and so the ramp up was very steep, and a lot of these shipping companies almost couldn't keep up, and they're still struggling. And up until just this Chinese New Year, I would say it peaked at that point. So shipping costs have been rising, up until a few weeks ago. So that's where we're at.
Sales channels. So I know you mentioned Amazon, and I know that you have a website also. When you started out, did you go directly to Amazon because they already have the traffic, or did you start out with a website, and now are you also in retail stores?
Yeah, so we started off in Kickstarter, and then right after Kickstarter, we had it on our website, which did pretty well. But like one thing about Kickstarter is Kickstarter has its own community of people. And after Kickstarter, we thought that we were like really popular. We thought it was like, oh, everyone's gonna like love it. And after Kickstarter was over, like still nobody knew about us. Like that. It's like almost like starting over again after Kickstarter. So we put it on our website, and it was doing okay, moderate, but we wouldn't be able to survive if we just kind of stayed from there. So then that's when we said, okay, we definitely got to go on Amazon because with our product, it's kind of unique where nobody's thinking, nobody's really doing a search for, oh, what's the best ice cream scoop on Google. It's usually, if somebody needs an ice cream scoop, they're going to go on Amazon, they're going to search for a scoop, and they're going to look for like the best rated one or something that catches their eye. And when we started with Amazon, that's when we knew that we can be successful after Kickstarter. Kickstarter, we were successful. Then we were scared a little bit after Kickstarter, but once we got onto Amazon, we started to see more and more sales every year, and that's how I think it's more to our unique product, though. It's more of a, you go on Amazon to search for an ice cream scoop type of thing.
And I know that Amazon has its own algorithms, like in terms of search and things like that. Did you have to do anything special to get your product in their search, or was it more just write the listing, have some keywords?
Yeah, exactly. Just write our listing, have some good keywords. We did have a copywriter to help us write the listing just so that it reads better. But we know some of the keywords. I mean, everyone just really searches for ice cream scoop, on Amazon. So we knew that we had to convert really well, and have some good pictures, have some good description, nice and clean, and really just make sure that the product was good. When the product is good, it helps a lot. You can get away with doing stupid stuff. You get more margin. But if it's if you're just trying to squeeze out your return by optimizing everything, and it's harder that way. It's nice that our product is unique, and we're very different from the other products, so I think that helps.
So I guess if you have a great product that overcomes a lot of things, if people really like it, if it's solving a problem, then I think it does a lot of the selling itself.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. And then we don't have to have the most optimized listing, if in that way. So we're not stressed in that regard. Although it would be nice. We should probably do a little bit more like A/B testing to try to optimize our listing to just get it like convert like as best it can. And I think we will soon, especially after we launch our next product. We're going to do both products at the same time and really optimize our listing, and that I think that'll help a lot, especially our website too.
Now, when I did a Google search of your product, I saw that the results also came into like some of the gift shops and wedding kind of e-commerce shops and things like that.
Yeah.
Is that are those retail stores, or they're just online stores that are carrying
They're
your
just
product?
online stores. We were in Crate and Barrel, and we have been in like Bed Bath and Beyond before. But nothing's really beat like how much sales we have through Amazon. So,
okay. And I guess last year hasn't really been the greatest time for retail shopping.
Yeah.
So, but retail was never really a big, great channel for you even before that.
Correct. For whatever reason, I think we could have pushed it a little bit more, but having only one product is a little hard to get into retail. It's nicer if we had like a line of products. So we're gonna try, once we have our pizza cutter out as well, we're gonna try to push more retail and try to balance out and just be more balanced. It would make more sense.
So Amazon is your primary channel. Do you do any marketing to drive your product sales also, or is it really?
Yeah, we do some sponsored ads through Amazon. So if somebody searches for ice cream scoop, we have some ads for that. That's about it, though. Nothing, no real banner type ads or anything yet. we are doing some ads for the launch of our pizza cutter. So we're trying to get some contacts so that we can, once we launch on Kickstarter for that, then everyone could be notified.
Okay. How many are you just in the US, or are you selling like globally?
We are selling globally now. We actually globally through Amazon, which is actually really nice. One thing that's kind of stopped us is that Brexit type thing with we had our supply in Amazon UK, and Amazon UK would be shipping scoops out to other European countries like Italy, Germany, France. So that like UK was the hub, and now now we have to have a hub probably like in Germany or something like that. So that's taken a little bit of time to try to develop or open up that channel.
So basically, you ship out the product to different Amazon warehouses, whether it's US, Canada, Europe, Australia, and they do the rest. So all you have to do is basically ship out the product, then everything is with them. They do the customer service, so you're pretty hands off with that.
Yeah, they do the shipping, so we're pretty hands off of that. Yep. It's we if there's any type of complaints, we would definitely still like try to work that out on if we can from us. We have something in the product that like a contact card in the product that says, hey, contact us if you have any issues. There's always like a low percentage of defects probably, like, hey, no questions asked, let us know if you have some issues, we'll send you a new scoop. No, not a big deal.
So it seems like your business is quite streamlined from an operations perspective. Do you have like any team members that in your business, or it's pretty much on autopilot? All you have to do is, when you have to order, create new supply, you just get in touch with your manufacturer. They create the shipment. It's shipped out, and everything is pretty much on autopilot. You're just monitoring it.
Yep, exactly. I'm just monitoring it. I do have a couple of colleagues that help make sure that everything's streamlined. Does the customer service, the ordering. We'll meet and figure out like project how many products we would need for the year for whatever upcoming season, and figure out what we need to order. But pretty much it's very streamlined as far as I think it's basically because our main channel is Amazon. We just have to make sure we supply the warehouses with enough scoops that goes through the holidays, really.
So your business is truly would you describe it as a passive income generator?
Yeah, I would say so. I think it kind of needs to be if I'm, if I'm still an aerospace engineer. It's kind of like my my main thing. So I need it to be.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
What throughout this journey, were there times where you thought that you've made a mistake or something went wrong, and it was a learning experience for you? Could you share any of those instances and what other entrepreneurs can learn from it?
Yeah, I would say probably the moment like after, a few weeks after Kickstarter was over, I thought all of a sudden we were only getting like, a few sales a day, and through Kickstarter we were getting hundreds of sales a day. So, it's like, what happened? What did we do? What did we do? How do we get back to where we, came from? And I think the learning experience is just, that you have to be able to pivot quickly. You have to recognize the signs, like if you needed to change something, do something, and never, like you said, it's like, right now it's like seems very hands off, but you always got to look for the opportunity to try to optimize it more if you can. And you got to make sure that you always got to keep a good eye on the numbers, make sure, why all of a sudden our sales are dropping now. What happened? What's different? Where are people going? Where are they buying stuff from? There's always going to be something new, I would say. Even though now with Amazon, it's like, the right way to do it, but things can change really quickly. And I think entrepreneurs just kind of have to be on their toes a little bit, and keep their eyes open.
Yeah, I mean that's one thing. Like if one is if your main channel is Amazon, if they change their anything, and that starts affecting your business, like do you have a backup plan? Like do you are you building like your website kind of a thing
For sure.
so that you have your own business, your own customers and things?
Exactly. Yep. We have our own website, and we do have, whatever we sell on our website, we have their contact information, which kind of helps with, growing our brand and our product too. Like, so our next product, we'll be able to at least contact all those people and say that, hey, we are a new product. Through Amazon, you don't really have that. You don't have a contact list like that. I can't go to all those people and say that bought through Amazon and say like, hey, we got a new product now. It doesn't work that way. So for sure, we've got to try to do our best to grow the brand really, and any opportunity that I see, like, hey, this can help us, we explore, or like, let's see this new channel of sales, like, hey, I think last year we just started to get on Wayfair, but we should definitely try it and see how it goes. Right now, for sure, it's not as good as Amazon, but you never know in the future.
So now we're going to move on to our rapid fire segment. And in this segment, I'm going to ask you a few questions and you have to answer them in one word or one sentence. So the first question is, would you recommend a book in 2021, a business or entrepreneurial related book to people?
Okay. I like Shoe Dog, the Nike story.
Okay.
Yeah. Can I explain why? All right. It's not like a really new book, but to me, I just finally found the time to read it, and I think it's good for entrepreneurs because you can read the whole journey of how he built Nike from nothing to $1 billion corporation, and there's a lot of stories, a lot of struggles, a lot of pivots, a lot of, really just kept it. The lesson really I learned is just putting your head down and busting through,
An innovative product or idea in the current e-commerce, retail, or tech landscape that you feel excited about?
I would say VR. I think that's I like that. I think it's a really good future, to be honest. It's I guess I can see it happening. We're definitely early from it, but if I was to tell my kids, to something to invest in now that maybe they'll eventually, be affected by their lives, I think that's what it'd be. Who knows? They might be going to colleges through VR or something like that. All through their house or something. They're at home and they're going to school at VR. I mean, it's
it's not too far fetched. Yeah, I mean,
no, it's not too far fetched. Why go into why go into a classroom when you can just be, literally be virtual reality.
Yeah, a business or productivity tool or software that you would recommend, or a productivity tip.
Yeah, so when I kind of Jungle Scout, to be short. Jungle Scout, have you heard that one?
It's an Amazon tool, right?
Yes, it's a tool to search Amazon products, and we use that for the pizza slicer. So we use that to see demand for a product, and we found that there was a good demand, and then we designed a better pizza cutter because we knew that there was a demand and we designed a better product, and then now we're releasing it. So I think it's a very cool tool.
Wow, so it actually works.
Yeah.
So
well, hopefully we haven't launched our product yet, the pizza slicer, but it works as far as finding some demand. Yeah.
A startup or business in e-commerce, retail, or tech that you think is currently doing great things?
I like this company called E-commerce Fuel, and it's kind of he does podcasts, some of like interviews like you do, but he has like a group of entrepreneurs, e-commerce entrepreneurs that do at least like $1 million in sales a year, and he has this group, and it's like he has a forum on it, and a lot of them kind of share ideas and learn from each other, and I think it's a very cool thing that they're doing.
Yeah, I've heard of it. Yeah. Do you want to be part of that forum?
Yeah, no, I am. We are in.
Oh, you are? Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
Yeah. I just thought it was like a very cool idea. He used to have a couple of e-commerce websites, and that's kind of how I kind of found him, and he wrote about it and how he grew one, optimized one, and grew it, and then he sold it, and he documented everything, how he sold it and everything, and then he kind of grew this following, and then he started making podcasts and educational stuff, and then he formed this group, a forum for message board for all these entrepreneurs. And now it's like, if I have any questions or if I can answer any questions, I would. And it's just a group of entrepreneurs that were pretty successful, and that need help.
A peer entrepreneur or business person whom you look up to, or someone who inspires you?
I would say that person that does that e-commerce fuel is Andrew.
What's his name?
Andrew Udarian.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm pretty happy, with that whole group, and I think it's very cool of what he's been doing.
And that is
similar to what's that?
That's an invite-only group.
Yeah, I think it's you can go onto the site and learn and have a lot of learning. There's a lot of learning stuff that he has for free and stuff. But the group of entrepreneurs, it's you can apply for it, kind of thing. And once you reach a certain amount of sales in your e-commerce, then he kind of lets you in, because they want to try to keep it so that everyone's kind of an expert. They want to try to find experts in the field, and that way it's very like rich in information.
Okay. Finally, best business advice that you have ever received or you would give to other entrepreneurs?
I would say really just perseverance. Entrepreneurs always have in anything. There's always like struggles for everything. You just gotta keep persevering. Nobody's road was easy. It's always, failure at any given moment. So you just got to keep going, keep pushing. If you love doing it, then, you end up pushing hard, and whatever roadblocks there is, it gets knocked down for sure.
Perfect. Those were all the questions I had today, Michael. Thank you so much for sharing your story, sharing your insights.
Thank you for having me.
This is the opportunity. If you want to share your website or where people can buy Midnight Scoop and things like that, please go ahead.
Yeah, so it's midnightkitchentools.com. We'll be launching our second product in probably about a month, and we're gonna have a Kickstarter for it. It's gonna be a pizza slicer. Basically, just like our ice cream scoop, it's going to be ergonomic and easy on your wrists, and and the quality of it will be there. So it's an heirloom giftable product, and it's going to be awesome.
Perfect. Thank you so much for the opportunity, Michael, for sharing your story, for sharing all the business insights. I really, really appreciate it. Thanks for joining me today at Trip Talks.
Thank you. I appreciate it as well.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.